Right, we're stepping into the 2000s now. Did you want to go with yours first? Your
I
select.
can go. I can go with mine first. Okay. So we spoke about remakes before, so I'm going to talk about the best Romero style zombie remake ever. Dawn of the Dead remake, man.
Yes.
Really good. I loved it. Zack Snyder. A lot of people kind of bang on about. I think Zack Snyder is one of the visually most impressive directors of his generation. I mean, and Dawn of the Dead is an awesome movie, and you can tell everybody on that set was having fun too. I love it. Another one I love is 30 Days of Night, which takes place in it used to be called Barrow, Alaska. In the film it's still called Barrow, but it's renamed something else right now. Really great vampire film. We didn't get a lot of good vampire films. In the 90s kind of had okay vampire films, but 30 Days of Night is a fantastic vampire film. The vampires are brutal in that. Really cool, really violent, really fun. Then we got to go with Drag Me to Hell, Sam Raimi. Of course, he did Evil Dead and stuff like that. We didn't mention that before, but Drag Me to Hell is a fun Sam Raimi film, back to form. Woman gets cursed by, a girl basically gets cursed, and the curse threatens to drag her to hell. She gets haunted by like this evil witch-like lady. So another one I'm going to talk about two other films really quickly, which I don't think a lot of people have seen. One is called House of the Devil. House of the Devil looks like a 70s horror film. I think it's set in either the late 70s or the early 80s about a girl who goes to babysit a kid, and really weird shit happens around the house. And we got like demon worshippers and witches, and
Yeah.
freaking cool movie. Really, really cool movie. I really like
Yeah.
it. And the last film, I know you're a fan of Resident Evil. I don't know. Have you played the Resident Evil games at all, or have you
Yeah.
played?
I like the fourth one's my favorite.
Okay, okay. So I'm gonna blow your mind right now. I was hoping you'd say that. So I'm gonna recommend a film for you. If you love Resident Evil 4, there's a film that no one's basically seen, and it's called Dagon. And
Dagon.
Dagon,
Oh,
Dagon.
Dagon. Right.
Directed by Stuart Gordon, who directed Reanimator and stuff like that. And Dagon, like Reanimator, is based on an HK stories by H.P. Lovecraft, who, of course, respected author of horror. And Dagon came out, I think, 4 years before Resident Evil 4. And literally, the story of Dagon is a guy ends up on a Spanish island, and everybody's um, turns is like infected by something, and they're kind of becoming fish people. And there's
Oh my
scenes,
God.
there's scenes, and basically, it's Resident Evil 4. The
That's
entire
crazy.
And there's even moments in which people are chasing the guy and they're yelling stuff out, and it sounds like they copied those sound clips in Resident Evil 4 while they're chasing him. It's
Oh my God.
basically Resident Evil 4. Like
Oh,
the Resident Evil 4 people eventually got pushed on. Eventually they acknowledged, yeah, we got influenced by Dagon. So
really?
if you
Oh,
basically want to see Resident Evil 4 in terms of like seeing a Resident Evil film, the first 20 minutes are okay, but then it gets really cool. And
okay.
it's not it's people infected by something, like there's something going on. It's not necessarily zombies, but that's the closest thing that exists in my mind to a Resident Evil film, especially Resident
Right.
Evil 4. So
I'm
highly
definitely,
recommended.
yeah, I'm definitely watching that.
So
Okay.
really
Right.
good.
From
What
my
do you
list,
have? Yeah.
The Mist. I thought I hadn't seen that, but I have seen it. I liked it.
I think it's okay. I really like the fog. I mean,
Totally.
again, see, so the 2000s are interesting because I think people started appreciating a lot. It has H.P. Lovecraft like themes in the Mist as well. Demons from another world, the old ones. I'm a big H.P. Lovecraft fan, so it kind of has interdimensional demons or demons from far off and everything else. So yeah, the Mist is okay. I prefer the fog, but that's kind of it for that genre of cinema, isn't it? Really. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Um, the others.
The others, yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, there's not much to say about the others, really. I mean, it's also all right. Kind of a, yeah, I guess I think it's all right.
Okay. 28 days later. I know we spoke about that earlier.
28 days later is cool. They're making the third one right now, I believe. They've confirmed the third one in the series. Yeah, 28 days later, it's an interesting film. It kind of is a more analytical look at what would happen. Well, from through the British lens of a zombie film, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it happens in England. There is a British zombie film called The Living Dead in Manchester Morgue, which was made in the 80s, but it's absolutely terrible. It's not a very good zombie film. Yeah, 28 Days Later is great. Danny Boyle, right? I believe directed it.
Yes. The F word
Yeah.
was used 61 times.
Well, fucking hell. But
Working with Mike, is it?
yeah. No, it's but I think it's a good movie. I can't do the zombies run in that? I can't remember. Are they slow or do they run?
No, that I think they're fast moving ones.
They're fast moving. I think that's the beginning of the fast moving zombies as well, which I think was a big thing for
Yeah.
that film. And
Um,
I think the
yeah.
disease is called rage, if I'm not mistaken, in that film as well. So see,
Yeah.
I've got a whole thing. I thought fast moving zombies were cool in that as the gimmick, because every zombie film has to have a gimmick. Right? Horror movies essentially are gimmicks. I mean, unapologetically so. I don't like the fact that everybody else had fast moving zombies after that. I mean, Dawn of the Dead remake kind of had them, but the film that myself and Mike Leader and Pettering want to do, our zombies are slow again. So they just come in the hordes. And I think because you think of rigor mortis and all that stuff happening, I think we're ready for slow moving zombies again, coming in hordes and just grabbing you and everything else. So
Yeah.
I think
I
we're back.
quite like, I read on the trivia that when they were filming at Canary Wharf petrol station, there's a huge explosion, but they didn't tell their local police about it. They sent 7 fire brigades down there. 7.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
going in a really quick direction. There's a director I know. We did an audio commentary with him. There's a company that released one of his films called The Vengeance Pack. Guy named Mirko on there runs a Blu-ray label, and they released a film called Lethal Panther. And in the audio commentary for that, Godfrey Ho I know quite well. He did a lot of exploitation films and stuff like that as well, and he also did the Splice and Dice ninja films and stuff like that, cut and paste ninja films. He tells a story, I think it's on that, and he was in the Philippines and they had some C4 to blow up a car, and Godfrey goes, the special effects guy goes, is that C4 really strong? And the guy goes, oh, I think he'll do the job, blow up the car. He goes, are you sure that that's not too much C4? I don't know how C4 works. I think you've got a lot of explosive there. He goes, no, it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. He goes, are you sure? Then they go back and forth. Eventually, guy goes, I know what I'm doing. Let me put the C4 in the car. It's plus explosive. It's military stuff. And I'll just put a whole bunch of it in there. We'll push boom and it'll look really great in camera. And Godfrey goes, okay, let's fucking do it. So they sit back and they blow this car up. And the explosion was so large, they blew out all the windows down the street.
No.
The whole block there was damage all down the block. They all went deaf for a few days. They couldn't hear. The explosion was so large, and they were like, oh my God, what did we just do? So yeah, Lethal Panther, he discusses that story. It is completely in the audio commentary. One of my favorite audio commentaries I ever did, with Big Mike and Godfrey Ho. And but yeah, talk about blowing things up. That was completely insane. They took out the entire street basically.
That's crazy.
So, an explosion in the film looks insane. You're like,
yeah.
What I reckon happened, I reckon it was so white hot it came toward the camera. And I think it fried the lenses of the camera even or something.
Jesus.
It's just such a crazy shot. And then of course with that much light, things will happen to the film negative as well, right? So
yeah.
It's just such an insane shot when you see that movie. So yeah.
Crazy.
Anyhow.
Right, the 2010s. There's quite a lot on my list, and I've only seen a few of them.
Yeah.
Get Out. Did you like that?
No, didn't like it as much. Just don't like it. I
thought it was so.
I didn't. I think it's overrated, and I'm not going to say too much about it, but I'm not a big fan of some of the things that the director has said about casting and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think I'm not a fan of his. I've stopped kind of. I don't like where he's coming from very much. So, and I'll openly say that. So I think he's a bit spiteful. So yeah.
Okay. It Follows.
Best film of the 2010s in terms of horror, I think. Hidden John Carpenter film, insanely cool synth soundtrack. I watched that film knowing nothing about it when I went in there. I don't want to say too much about it. It's one of those ideas that when you watch it, you go, shit, I wish I thought of that.
Okay, right.
It's so, in terms of screen, it's such a simple idea, and you know what? Making a simple idea work really well, and to me is a sign of genius. And I reckon the people who made that film are geniuses. And they've captured the magic that was available, like that John Carpenter like was pushing forward in the 80s and everything else. I think it's a stunning film. Soundtrack, casting, it's shot well, it's direct. The director name eludes me right now, but really like that is filmmaking right there. That is really good movie.
The Conjuring.
I love it.
Yeah.
Both The Conjuring and the other films they did. You mentioned them earlier on. Sorry,
Insidious.
I cannot remember that name. Insidious Part 1 and 2, and Conjuring Part 1 and 2. Those films are fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah.
Same director as Saw. Really good stuff, man. Like really, really good stuff. Good old horror films, like with ghosts and stuff. Proper ghost movies. I mean, and they're scary as hell. I saw The Conjuring Part 2 in the cinema, and there's one scene in that. There's a few scenes in that where just the whole cinema's going woo and jumping up and down, and that's a movie right there. It's a good showing.
Okay.
I think the 2010s is way stronger in terms of output than the.
It seems
than
the 2000s. Yeah. Hereditary. I need to see this one.
So Heredity, I've got to say I've not seen yet. It's one of the few films I've not seen yet, and I feel it's a film that a lot of people are kind of passing over, and I'm guilty of that as well. I haven't seen it yet. I'll see it at some point though, but it's one of those films. In 2010s, I started shooting more myself, and you'll find that when you start shooting more, I started doing commercials and music videos and everything, and when you start shooting more, you start seeing less stuff, and that's one of the films that I've kind of always pushed back. I don't know why. Yeah. But somehow it's a film that somehow hasn't attracted me. But I guess I hold my reservation until I see it. Maybe I'll see it and I go, I was an idiot. I should have watched that movie. But somehow it's something about that film that hasn't really pulled me in, really. Maybe I'm not, I don't know. It's strange. Strange. Yeah.
Okay. So we've got It as well. What do you think?
It. I said it before, and I may be a horrible person. I'm not a fan of movies with kids in them. Except for The Goonies. I'm not a fan of movies. I'm not a big fan. Yeah, it doesn't it's that Stranger Things crowd kind of that's there, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the same similar actors and everything else, and I do follow them. And I am a tremendous fan though of the guy who plays the monster in that.
Yeah
He's very good. His name escapes me right now as well. I'm terrible with names today. But
is it Bill Skarsgård something?
It's I think it's William Skarsgård. It's Bill Skarsgård's son, I think it is. Yeah. And there's a show on Netflix that is so bizarre. I don't know what to make of it, but I really kind of enjoyed it, called Hemlock Grove. Have you ever seen that show?
No.
It's a horror show that is completely like, I don't know what, I've watched the whole thing. I still don't know what's going on. I don't know what to think of it, but he is so fantastic in that. Like, and he's one of the best actors of his generation by far. He's really cool. He's really good. And
played Pennywise really quite well. Thinking of Tim Curry, right?
Yeah. Well, Tim Curry is a fantastic actor, and to take those places and make it go in different directions, it's hard to fill that role. But he's really good. Very, very, very good. Yeah.
Okay, we've got The Witch. Did you see that?
Don't like it. Didn't like it.
Didn't like it?
No, I felt it. It's maybe, I think certain films, like Stigmata was like that a few years. Certain films don't resonate. I think I'm not a religious person. Like I'm just not. And I think the film has much more effect for you if you believe in a hereafter and God.
Okay. Yeah.
And because it's a lot about like, oh, the devil, and there's a message underlying about, again, it's about innocence, which most horror films are about. But I think The Witch, for me, it just didn't. There was such a disconnect. There's two films. Another film I saw on your list as well, that it's one of the two films that really didn't connect with me at all, which a lot of horror people like. I mean, it's okay to not like. A lot of people like. Another one I didn't like. Well, we'll talk about it when it gets on your list later on.
Okay. Right, you're next.
I haven't seen Your Next. I have to admit. Have you seen it?
No, I've not seen it. I've seen a few. I don't know what happened to me in the last 2 decades. I've hardly seen anything.
Your Next, I have not seen yet. It's I have the Blu-ray. It's in the pile, but I haven't seen it yet. So It's on the pile. Yeah.
Okay, Kill List.
That's the other film I was talking about. Kill List, I've seen. Total disconnect for me. It felt to me like a film with a lot of people screaming in a room, and the whole thing with the cult and everything else. It just it felt like a lot of I was like, what's people shouting all the time? Like, so yeah, it didn't connect with me at all. So yeah, It's
Okay.
yeah. There you go.
And
Kill.
lastly, I've got A Quiet Place.
Didn't like it very much. It was I could kind of see what was going to happen before the it's sometimes you see horror films, you know what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know how much to say about that film, but sometimes if you watch a lot of horror films, you know how horror films are going to end. And I knew how that movie was going to end before the end. The others, I kind of had that as well. I mean, that's why I didn't say very much about the others, because I kind of was like, the others is the others. I could kind of guess how both those films were going to end pretty quickly. I mean, I mean, I have a background in some screenwriting as well, so you know there's only 7 types of stories, and you know how, like, you know, things work with wounds and everything else and all that stuff, and both A Quiet Place and the others, I could kind of see how the film was going to end. And The Quiet Place, I really, in the first 20 minutes, I knew how that movie was going to end.
That's so frustrating, isn't it? My husband hates me for that, because you sit there watching something and I'm like, well, that's going to happen next. Or
yeah, my wife always says, I'll go to the cinema with you, but you're not allowed to talk to me about the movie during or after or before.
Just eat your popcorn.
So, yeah, you shut up. Like, and mind you, we know how slasher films are going to end, right?
Yeah.
You know, usually, you know, there'll be a survivor, usually a female character, which is very cool, and all that stuff. But we know but we know we're getting with a slasher film. But with the others and A Quiet Place, I kind of, and I guess that's a mile away with those films. So, but you know what? Not everybody's like that. So, but for sometimes the films don't resonate with me. I think it's because I'm very interested in the guts of the movie and the mechanics of it.
Right.
And if you want to, I will say to people, if you love films, maybe don't go to film school at times, because you learn too much about how they're put together. You look through different lens. I mean, maybe you should go there is something about that. And I think more filmmakers who've gone to film school will tell you that, you know, it kind of pulls the curtain away, especially when it comes to writing. Like, there's certain things, like it'll pull the curtain away for you. So yeah,
exactly. It's it's part of the guesswork, and if you're totally taken by surprise, then it's so good, isn't it? It's like,
it's like knowing a magic trick and going to the magic show at times.
Yes, absolutely.
For the 2020s, I'm gonna give one film from the 2020s. I know we're running out of time here. I'm gonna give Underwater. It's the best film I've seen all year. It's a horror film.
Seen that? I must see it, mustn't I?
So if you love Alien, you're gonna watch it and you're gonna go, okay, all right, I like this. If you like H.P. Lovecraft and, like, you know, the whole Cthulhu mythos and everything else, if you like that, highly recommend it. Not the most original film on the planet, but damn, does that work? It works really well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the living hell out of it, and I was there with another producer who's produced like 30 horror films, and he was like, "That's a really good movie." I was like,
"Oh,
fantastic!"
Really?
So yeah,
I catch up with that. Thank you.
And I think it was on the shelf for a while before they put it out. I'll just put this thing out, and I loved it. And I've seen other people go, "This is really cool." And there is I'm not going to see if you can spot in the film, but there is a slight link to Alien in the movie.
Oh, wow.
So, which a lot of people don't realize until they watch it later on. They go, "Oh my God." And then when you see there's a link to the world of Alien, I'm not sure how intentional it is, but it's a visual link and it's definitely in there. So if someone did that, it was really cheeky and put that in there, but
yeah,
it's a good movie. But if you like Alien, if you like H.P. Lovecraft stories, and you want to see something that's just, you know what, that's good. Watch Underwater. Right? I really enjoyed it.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing your extensive horror film knowledge with me.
Oh, no problem.
I've learned so much, and especially with mentioning like the Japanese stuff and the anime and all those other films that we probably don't know about, you know, in the mainstream that we can go and see.
Yeah. Oh, I can go on to Japanese cinema for ages. Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you so much for joining me.
No problem.
In the evening.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. And I'll speak to you soon. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. Join me tomorrow for the final part.